eternity.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are all well and ready for another session of the Wastewater Use event. This is how we do it. My name is Guilherme, and I would like to welcome you and say thank you all for joining us at our last webinar of this. As you must know for now, with this event, our main focus is to value and debate wastewater reuse, creating a space of free speech and listen to the professionals, experts, and others who directly work on the area. With this, we intend to better prepare ourselves as citizens and society for the impact of water shortages due to climate change. The event has 4 sessions, and for this section, we will cover the wastewater reuse for industrial applications. Adding as a note, this webinar will be simultaneously transmitted live on YouTube, and the link will be available so you can review all the presentations whenever you want. You can find out the content for this edition on our website and LinkedIn page using the links provided in the description. I also take this moment to thank our partners, Lisbon Environmental and Energy Agency, Lisboa Nova, Rui Faria Consultancy, Groki FAR, and Fazedores da Mudança Association for making this event possible. As always, let me quickly explain the rules of this webinar. First, each presentation will have about 20 minutes dedicated, and there will be a moment of questions and answers after each speaker of about 10 to 15 minutes maximum. Second, we will set and encourage questions from the audience. For that, we ask those who have questions to write them down on the online chat so I can introduce them. But you can also put your question in voice by clicking on your scroll bar icon and wait until I give you permission to talk. The scroll bar icon is the one with the hands up. Finally, for those who are joining us after this event on YouTube, you can always submit your questions by contacting us using the link available in the description. At the end of the session, before you leave, we would like to invite you to take 10 seconds and answer our short anonymous survey. Before we start this webinar, allow me to introduce our moderator for this panel, Professor Helena Nadais, which is an assistant professor at University of Aveiro in the Department of Environmental and Planning. She holds a master's degree in chemical engineering from the Technical University of Lisbon and a PhD in applied environmental sciences from the University of Aveiro, with a thesis on energy recovery from industrial effluent by anaerobic process. She has been a professor at University of Aveiro since 1999, participating as a professor and/or responsible professor in curricular units in the area of water and effluent treatment recovery. She has also supervised master's and doctoral work on water and effluent, reuse of treated wastewater, and the circular economy. She has more than 60 scientific publications on water management, treatment and energy, and material recovery of effluents, and she has an age index of 70. In addition to the academic activity, she has carried out consultancy and training work on water and treatment recovery of domestic and industrial effluents, quality management system, and environmental management system. Professor, are you there? Will you listen to me? You have your
yes.
Okay. Can you please turn your...
Yeah, I will turn on my video.
Okay. So if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation, and congratulations for this initiative of organizing this event. It's a very I commend you for this. It's a very good initiative. This session, as you know, is about treated wastewater for industrial reuse. And the first speaker will be Ricardo Vieira, commercial manager at industry at Veolia, Portugal. Ricardo graduated in chemical engineering in 2009 and has always worked in this area of studies, mainly water. Over the years, he has gained experience in the area, but it was at Veolia where he was able to reveal his potential and open up his range of ideas given the size of the company. Veolia is one of the largest companies in water and wastewater in the world. He's a passionate person about water and about what Veolia does on the sustainability and reuse of industrial water. Ricardo will join us with a session communication in treated wastewater for industrial uses, addressing specifically the resourcing of the water with wastewater. Okay, Ricardo, are you ready?
Hello, everyone. Hello, good afternoon. Let me share my screen. Okay, there it is. Are you all seeing it?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. So, hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ricardo Vieira, and like Professor said, I work at Veolia, Portugal, as a water commercial manager for industrial sector. Okay. So I was challenged to come here, and I have in my agenda to talk a little about Veolia, focusing on who we are and what we do in terms of water, namely in this case for the reuse of water in industry sector. So Veolia has three major core business: energy, waste management, and water, which I belong to this last one. And regardless of which department we belong to, we all in Veolia are dedicated to ecological transformation as our main focus. For us, Veolia workers, ecological transformation means working to radically change patterns of production and consumption. It means placing ecology at the heart of every process and every assessment. It means providing radical, meaningful solutions to major problems with and for its stakeholders: local authorities, manufacturers, civil society, employees, etc. So I have a little video here that I would like to share with you first.
This is an historic moment. Never has humanity's future been so closely entwined with environmental concerns. This is urgent. Our climate is changing. Natural resources are running out. Biodiversity is collapsing. Our house is on fire. We all know it. Everyone is talking about it. Now we must act. Practical, high-impact solutions already exist. Now more than ever, we need industrial players to accelerate their deployment. But other problems remain to be solved. We must do all we can to invent the solutions of tomorrow. We must go beyond transition. There is no time left for gradually changing our methods. To reconcile the environment and human development, we must make decisive, difficult and structuring choices. That is why Veolia aspires to a larger, higher, more challenging ambition: ecological transformation. Ecological transformation means genuinely adapting our patterns of production and consumption. It means placing ecology at the heart of every process, every assessment, every decision. It means developing radical, meaningful solutions to meet humanity's existential challenges. Decarbonizing industry to combat climate warming, promoting the circular economy to combat resource depletion, decontaminating the air, water and soil, protecting biodiversity, and creating a more resource-efficient agriculture. None of this would be possible without the coordinated action of all our stakeholders, our 180,000 employees, of course, but also our customers, our shareholders, our partners, and wider society as a whole. We are committed to delivering a multifaceted performance and convinced that economic, social, and environmental concerns must form an indivisible whole. contaminating, sanitizing, purifying, recycling, recovering, conserving, and facilitating access to resources, Veolia has always worked to create solutions capable of building a better, more sustainable future for all. Today, we want to become the benchmark company for ecological transformation. Our ambition is huge, but so is our determination. Ecological transformation, that is our purpose.
So, as you all have seen, in Veolia, our daily mission or our motto is resourcing the world. We are all totally fulfilled to try and change the world the way we can, at least. And we do that by improving access to resources, by offering operational solutions that consume less environmental resources and are more economically efficient. By preserving resources, by developing solutions to conserve resources that optimize their use, and by resource replenishing, offering solutions for creating new secondary resources that will gradually make up for the growing scarcity of primary natural resources. Our purpose as a powerful driver of recovery and transformation, Veolia's commitment to multi-phase performance aims to find a new balance between economic, social, and environmental considerations, never forgetting that all of them are connected and all of them depend on each other for their good continuity. As I said before, Veolia's main activities are energy, waste, and water. And I like to present them in this order according to their weight within Veolia. Okay? Energy is one of our biggest core business not only in Portugal, but also in the world. Veolia designs and deploys solutions for water, waste, and energy management, participating in the sustainable development of cities and industries. Our approach is integrated. This is our numbers. This is Portuguese numbers, and below there are worldwide numbers, okay, of the late year 2022. We are distributed from north to south of Portugal, with our headquarters being in Passo de Arcos, and then having some logistics centers all over the country, and even in the islands also. So in that way, we can guarantee a fast response in all our clients. The urgency to face and adapt to climate change has forced cities and industries to rethink their operational models, to embark on the decarbonization of processes and activities in order to reduce their environmental footprints and achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. Some of those solutions are low carbon fuel and energy production, improving efficiency in production and energy consumption, maximizing the potential of water and waste recovery, carbon capture and sequestration, and many others arising later in our heads at these questions. How can water be recycled to irrigate agricultural land? How can wastewater be transformed into drinking water? This last question, being so sensitive, mainly in our country, I would like to show you a little more about it with some of our real cases, namely in Namibia and very close by in France. So this is some of our real world examples. For instance, in Namibia with Veolia, the Window Lake treatment plant transforms 20,000 cubic meters of wastewater daily into drinking water to ensure the capital city's supply of clean water. In France, Veolia supports the municipality of Saint-Maxime with wastewater reclamation solutions for watering its green spaces. So with population growth, climate change and waste generated by human activities, water scarcity has become a very real problem in our daily lives. With this, there is an urgent need to reduce the contamination of our aquatic environments and to look for new sources of water. And for that, we have the solution through wastewater reuse. That's what brings us here. For this, we need to respect some steps and try to follow them as best as possible, acquiring as much information as possible along the way. We need to know the feed water quality. For instance, we need a complete analytical characterization of all water to understand all the contaminations in the water that we need to treat. Okay. We need to set the reuse goal. Sometimes even the client don't know. They know they want to reuse the water, but they don't know what for. And for that, we need to intend the destination of this water to be reused. Land treatment line. A good project requires as much study to be done. In this way, the solution design will be the best to be presented. And that's why we need to do the first two steps. It's very important, the first two steps. Legislation. Know the limits of the law and respect them for the fullest. For instance, in Portugal, wastewater reuse, industrial wastewater reuse is still under the law, that it's still forbidden to be used. So therefore, the legislation is still strictly, so we are not even yet allowed to do that very, very often in some cases. Other local specificities. What kind of environmental impact will our solution have? Will it be sustainable? Will it be profitable for both parties? We take these points as being important ones to set up a project. For every project, there is a solution, and rarely are two projects entirely alike. Therefore, for almost every need in water treatment, Veolia has specialized solutions, and there are no projects to date that, no matter how great the challenge, scare us, and we are unable to present a solution. This is some of our technologies we have in Veolia. We have technologies for almost everything. So now I'll try to explain some of our case studies. This is one of our most important case study. We've been working on this client for almost 6 years, almost 6 to 7 years. It's a food and beverage factory. We have a work there of 24/7. We have a very large team with the energy sector and the water sector. We operate and manage all the wastewater treatment plant, and this one has a activated sludge in SPR, preceded by an anaerobic digestion step. All our treated water, 40 to 45% of this water is reused, around 45 cubic meters per hour. And this reuse treatment line includes filtration, some steps of filtration in medium filters, membrane filtration by ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, ozonization, chlorination, and many other steps. This reused water is being used to feed the cooling towers and the evaporative condensers, equipment washing, irrigation, and some specific steps of the production process. Only the process steps that aren't in direct contact with the product. So what have the client benefit with this installation? They benefit with a great decrease in raw water and groundwater consumption. The wastewater discharge reduction, so the aquatic environment protection, lower discharge costs, a bigger contribution to circular economy and sustainable resource management, and as challenges, this kind of installation has a very high initial investment cost. So sometimes it's a big challenge. So the client not every time gives us a green light on this, because sometimes they want to reuse the water, and when they get when they receive the price, the cost of everything, sometimes they, instead of green light, they go to yellow light and put the project in a drawer. So to the time that the project will be really needed. And this kind of installation needs for plant monitoring with associated operation and maintenance costs, daily operation and maintenance costs. Wait, sorry. Some of our other projects, some of them are pilots, still in the starting phase. Some of them are already in course, are installed in course. We have cases of these two cases of wine industry. One of them is vineyard irrigation, implementation of a tertiary treatment to the effluent from a municipal wastewater treatment plant for use in irrigation of vineyards in a water stressed zone in Douro. This client, he has no access to raw water, and this is a small installation that only needs filtration and a UV sterilizer as a treatment process. The production of water is 3 cubic meters per hour for irrigation. Another case that we it's still it's larger, but it's still in the study case, study stage. It's a water cycle optimization in winery. This is a factory with several effluent streams. We started by characterization all of them to identify reuse opportunities. We made an improvement of all the study of the wastewater treatment plant, and we are on a study of a treatment solution to produce water for use in irrigation from wastewater treatment plant. Any other 3 more cases, 2 of them, this textile industry and the food and beverage industry, are already ongoing. This one is still in the starting phase. Okay? The textile industry is a company that has the water reused for the production process in dyeing factory. The factory effluent streams characterization to identify reuse opportunities. We made a study to improve wastewater treatment efficiency and implementation of tertiary treatment of wastewater treatment plant effluent for use in the production process. This is another line of 3 cubic meters for reuse. This is going very well. In the future, the client will. This is part of the water, only part of the water. The wastewater treatment plant is being treated around 10 to 15%, and we are at the end of this case, and the client will enlarge it, all the treatment, or to around 80 to 85% of the water to reuse it. Another food and beverage industry, they use water for the production process also. We are at the end of the study of a treatment solution to produce water from wastewater treatment effluent for use in the production process. It's an estimated production of 15 cubic meters of reused wastewater. And finally, pulp and paper industry, they also use the water for the production process. It's a study of a treatment solution to implement a wastewater treatment of the factory effluent and produce water for use, MBR, plus membrane filtration based in treatment process. It's an estimated production of 19 cubic meters of reused wastewater in this client. We also have another case study, another client. It was a client that I was part of the team that made the commission in the startup of it. It's an hospital in Angola. They installed MBBR to treat all the wastewater and treatment water and to deliver it again to the municipal collector. Till now, the project started 6 months ago. Everything is going well. The client is very, very happy with it. And the government is also happy, and they are also making studies for new hospitals and some of more installations like this one. So this is my presentation. Hope you all like it. Not sure if anyone has any questions.
Yes, okay. Thank you, Ricardo, for your presentation and for all your work as a company and for these projects. I know we have a short time, right? But I would like to encourage the people also from the audience to put questions. Feel free. Let me start with this one. You said that in Veolia you have all kind of technologies to basically treat the water to the quality that you desire.
Mm-hmm.
So and you also shown us very different areas of projects that you have already implemented or are in the study phase. My question is, what role can a big company like Veolia play in the transition by large and medium-sized industries to the reuse of treated wastewater in Portugal? And also, what is your vision of this wastewater reuse in the medium term?
So I will talk not only about the wastewater, but water treatment in Portugal. I believe the biggest challenge in Portugal around water is, first of all, the client's mindset. Okay, the client mainly reminds himself of his needs in times of big scarcity. So it happens this last year with the dry season. People and the companies started talking about desalination and wastewater treatment plants and reuse of water. And then the rainy season came again, and all the water levels, all the water sources started rising again, and all the projects go to drawers. I could show how I had more than 20 projects made since June last year till now, that we have knowledge that they are all in the drawers till the next summer, when another dry season comes and the client reminds himself again to invest. So I believe the first challenge is for the client to understand that this is it. We have to act now. There's no more time. There's no planet B. There's no other solution. We need to try to work to the most we can for the sustainability of our world. And that's on this point that Veolia enters easily, not only in Portugal but all around the world. It's a very big company. It's a multinational company, and one thing that I really passionates me in Veolia is that everything that I've shown you is not only to cover your eyes or cover our eyes. It's everything that we are brainwashed to believe in. Not only we don't do it to try and sell to the client. We have formations. We have many things all around all year for us to be more sensitive about these problems. So there's not a problem, or there isn't a solution that Veolia can't answer, in water treatment. There's always a solution for water treatment. Sometimes the problem, it's the costs, and those costs are costs that sometimes the client don't want to pay. That's what I see as a biggest problem.
Okay, I'm seeing that no one in the participant room have questions, so I will go on without wanting to completely manipulate this. But it's funny that you're saying. I see you, Professor. It's funny that you're saying that we just talk about water when we face droughts, because it's exactly the same mentality that leads us to only talk about fires in the summers. So
yeah,
it's
the same. It's the same.
So it's really a problem. With that said, do you consider that the private sector, in an initial phase, can give the biggest push in Portugal, contrasting with, for example, the municipalities or other public companies, due to having a more direct and simplified process of the decision making, and also because it's usually depend less on government policies and programs.
Okay, so I agree that it's the private sector that will push the most for it. I hope what I'm going to say doesn't hurt anyone. It's just a small opinion, but I prefer the industry sector. That's why I'm on the industry sector and not on the municipal sector, because the municipal sector, it's a bit more political in that I'm not a politician on that. I don't like to do almost weekly reunions discussing projects. I like more the private sector, because the private sector knows what he wants, and we can go straight to what they want, to the final flag, what they want. The private sector will help us all push on that way. Not only the private, but all the municipals also. I believe once more, it's the mindset that needs to be changed. For instance, we are being contacted by many companies, dying companies, that nowadays they have their clients that request a flag, a sustainability flag, and they need to invest on reused water. I believe the problem is that we are always, people, private sectors or companies, we are all always one step behind instead of one step on front. Instead of going after the problem, we should be one step advance of the problem. Like you said, of the fires, like I said, of the water treatment. We are always waiting for the worst thing to happen, and that's when we try to do things. That's why in Veolia, we like the preventive solutions, not the corrective. We prefer the preventive solutions. That's why we invest so much in that, not only in our clients, but in everything we do. Okay. But
yes, I also think act is always better than the react. Yeah. Professor Helena, you can join us.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Ricardo, for your interesting presentation. I have a lot of questions, but I will stick to maybe two, okay, if we have the time. I saw in your presentation that the processes that Veolia uses for treating the wastewater for use, they have a strong component of membrane filtration, right?
Not in all solutions. It depends on the solution. It depends on
the application of the wastewater. Yes.
But almost all the solutions that I presented, almost all of them have membrane solutions, ultrafiltration and reverse osmosis solutions.
Osmosis, yes. Okay. I know that membrane operations are expensive and energy intensive somewhat, yes?
Yeah.
There is also the consequence of energy impacts, energy, carbon emissions, and so on. Also, when you have membrane processes, you end up with a concentrated stream. For example, in desalination of seawater, the rejected concentrated stream, even if it is rejected in the sea, that is the salted water, it can affect the ecosystem very hardly. Yeah. So my question is, how can you say that your processes are not shifting the burdens? You are saving water, you are recycling, reusing, of course, it is in line with the circular economy. But do you have a full picture of the life cycle of the water, using life cycle assessment tools in order to guarantee that you are not shifting burdens, you are improving in terms of water recycling, water reuse, but maybe you are doing worse in terms of energy with the carbon emissions, or rejecting the concentrated streams. And finally, what do you usually do with the concentrated streams?
Okay, so let's go step by step. First, all our cases, or all our biggest cases, they are all start with a study. Okay, we don't like to do cases or projects on our needs. So we try to study not only the water that we are going to treat, but the concentration, the concentrated water that we are going to deliver. Okay, instead, for instance, last year I rejected a project, a client that wanted to enlarge their wastewater treatment plant, or the reuse wastewater treatment plant, from 50 cubic meters per hour to 80 to 90 cubic meters per hour. But they only said, I want this to be done. But we are also with the operation and maintenance of the wastewater treatment plant, and they didn't deliver me any study to all the implications that we'll have in the wastewater treatment plant. So therefore, for me, it was easy. Without that study, I'm not applying. I'm not delivering any kind of proposal. So in Veolia, we don't pick the projects. That's why sometimes our projects take lots of time to come out. We have a desalination process, proposal that it's been delivered in 2020. It's in 2023. We are still in negotiations with the client, because for us it's not sell. We try to always think about the future and all the implications that we'll have in the environmental, and with the humans, with the animals, with everything. With money is involved. So Veolia is a big company. Veolia wants to gain money also, but we continue on thinking about the future and all our impact we can have. We have in the future for the planet. Yeah.
Okay. Am I allowed another question, Guilherme?
You are the moderator, so
okay. Okay. I don't know if there are any questions from the audience.
I had saw one, but when I click to see who it was, the person, Sandovi, put his hand
Okay.
down. So
Okay.
you can keep going. You can keep going.
Okay. Another question I have, this is a very common question, but nevertheless, I think it is a relevant question. You said you had have a project of in a vineyard in Douro to reuse water for irrigation. What kind of irrigation system do you use? Because in the picture, I think it was with aerosols.
Don't take the pictures as being belonging to the client. Okay.
Okay.
After I've made my presentation, my marketing and digital department needs to check my my presentation, and if there is any pictures they don't like with bad quality, they disclassify them all and they put new pictures. Okay, so none of the pictures correspond to the client. Okay.
Yes, I understand. Anyway, but in this water reuse for irrigation, I don't know what type of irrigation system you have. If the picture is not true to the project, is it?
We don't do the irrigation process. We only pick up the wastewater. We treat it. We store it in a tank, and from that tank, a recirculating tank, so the water is never stopped. It goes to the irrigation. The irrigation isn't done by us.
I know, but you have to adapt the quality of the water to the use, and the use is depending on the irrigation system, okay?
Yeah.
So, but what kind of irrigation system is in use in that project? Because my question boils down to how did you overcome the legal barriers about the public health? Because if you don't have gota a gota, drop by drop.
In this case, it's drop by drop. Okay. Yeah. In this case, it's drop by drop. That's why the pre-treatment or the treatment isn't very strict. It's just a filtration, a glass. It's a glass medium filter, medium. And then the UV sterilization. Okay, so they don't need anything more. Okay, we are always in contact with Águas Portugal and with all the laws, and saying always in contact to them. So we are never under the red light or the under the lights doing something wrong. But in this case, it's drop by drop. So in drop by drop, it isn't in direct contact with the grapes, so there isn't.
And it's a barrier itself. It's a barrier itself. Go to our presentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still no more questions.
I have one last, not from the audience, but I have one last at least. If I may, Ricardo, to your time. So I saw on your presentation that you mentioned about the window egg project. So there is a project that is on operation for 40 years, I believe, right?
Which one?
The window egg.
Ah, yeah.
Yes. 40 years.
Yeah.
I think. So why do you think that we have such a strict laws here in Europe that prohibits this kind of projects of indirect or even direct potable use projects? And do you think that could be because our social acceptance is still too much strong to take down, or Do you feel that since Namibia...
Okay, I understand what you're trying to ask. So it takes a big responsibility for you to sign a document saying that companies can use wastewater treatment plant to be reused for potable water. Okay? And I believe in Portugal we are still very afraid of signing that paper. Okay, because reuse wastewater treatment, reuse wastewater water is being used in many places around the world, not only in France, not only in Namibia. We have cases of beer that are already being produced with wastewater reused. So we have a case in Portugal also, but it cannot be sold. Okay, it's only a study case. But I believe the biggest problem is people are scared because it takes a big responsibility, and people don't want to assume that responsibility to sign that paper, because if something goes wrong, all the lights will be pointing to that person. So I believe that's the biggest thing, the biggest problem in there. Okay, because wastewater treatment, wastewater reuse isn't so hard to treat, as long as there are full commitment from people to this installation. Okay, we have many cases we have clients where if you saw the water that enters and the water that comes out, the treated water doesn't take very much to become potable water, but we cannot go under the law. So the law is the law, and we stick to it. Okay.
Okay. So I would advise for all the audience to put a question if they want. The opportunity is now. This is kind of
Professor Helena has,
yes.
Professor Helena has one again.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. It's more a wrap-up question, so to say. So what do you what is your perspective, or Veolia perspective, for the most immediate future and for a more distant future in terms of industrial water reuse? So how do you see the immediate future and the more distant future for these? I know that the requirements for water reuse in the industry are somewhat different. You have other types of problems like scaling, corrosion, and so on that are not so important in other reuse applications. So what is your perspective? The two perspectives for the short term and the long term in the water reusing industry.
I believe in short term and long term, they are a bit side by side, because Veolia is fully committed to this. That's why we changed our motto. We changed a bit of our motto in the last 2 years. We are all resources, and because we believe the future is this road we are now going through, the reuse of wastewater, because the potable water sources are decreasing. It's of knowledge to everyone. We all contribute to the contamination of our water sources, and that's why the commitment of Veolia to the wastewater treatment or wastewater reuse, it's 100% commitment, and we see it not only as short term as in long term as being one of the solutions to water all around the world. In Portugal, Veolia still has few cases all around the world we have tons and hundreds of cases that I could share, but we wouldn't have time for all those cases.
Okay, thank you. I
You're
have no
welcome.
more. I have no more. I have a lot of questions, but I think we don't have much time for that. So
you can ask Guilherme from my email or my contact. You can contact me whenever you want.
thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Likewise, if you need anything from University of Aveiro, we are very interested in these kind of projects. Thank you. Maybe one day you can come and give some lecture.
I'm always interested in new engineers from them.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
One of my assistants is from Universidade de Aveiro. He entered as my assistant, and now he's responsible for some of installations that I delivered to him. So for me,
he is here watching you.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
Okay, nice.
Job is here. Okay, Ricardo, I believe you unfortunately have to go. So
yeah,
before we pass to Demian, if you want to say your goodbyes, please do, and after it I leave it to you, Helena.
Okay. So I just want to say that thank you all. Thank you, Guilherme, for the invite. It's been a pleasure. In the first session, the first event you made, I was invited, so it was a pleasure for me. Thank you for the consideration. Professor Helena, thank you for your questions. Are very important questions. Feel free to contact me anytime for any other questions you may ask, or just a small talk. I like to talk. We can talk in Portuguese instead in English, but we can talk more. Guilherme knows that I like to talk, so and I like to talk about my area. I really love water. I love water, and I love water treatment. So that's why I work here in Veolia since 2018, and I work with water since 2009. So luckily, I've always worked with water, and I hope I continue to work with water for many other years. Okay, the people in the audience, feel free to contact Guilherme if they need to contact Veolia or if they need to contact me. I'm always available. I can say my girlfriend is watching. I can say this, that I'm always 24/7 available. So she doesn't need to know that. So feel free to contact me anytime.
Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Professor, can I pass to Demian?
Yes. Okay, so our next speaker is Demian Nagler. Demian has a bachelor degree in environmental engineering and management from the University of Azores in Portugal, and a master's degree in environmental engineering at the University of Stuttgart in Germany. And during the last 5 years, Demian has been focusing mainly in the environmental sector related to water and wastewater treatment. He started his career in 2016 at Maison Wallonne de la Pêche ASBL in Belgium as a trainee in projects related to river recovery. During the last 4 years, Demian has been working as a project manager and in the research department of Aqua Detox International, developing sustainable biological wastewater recycling plants for industrial applications. So it's really the theme of our session today. Demian will join us with a session addressing sustainable water management with integrated biological wastewater recycling plants. So, Demian, the floor is yours. We are looking forward to your presentation. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Question, can you hear me well? Because my microphone, I'm not sure it's working fine.
Yes.
Okay, so I will just share my presentation. Just have to put it on full screen. Is it, can you see it? Can you see the presentation?
Yes. You're good to go.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation to be able here to speak a little bit about Aqua Detox, the company, and what the company has developed the last 30 years. And thank you to Guilherme and his team for this amazing event. I think it's very important to speak about wastewater reuse, and as Aqua Detox are kind of specialists in this field, I think we insert very well in this event and this topic. As Professor Helena already told you, I will speak about wastewater recycling systems that work mainly on biological basis. I'm sorry, I'm a bit sick, so if my voice goes away or I have to cough, it's just because I've been sick the last 2 days. First, I will present you a little bit the company. So Aqua Detox International is in the south of Germany, based on the south of Germany, next to the border to Austria and Switzerland. You can see on the map the red point, it's where the company is based. And Aqua Detox, what we do is biological wastewater treatment and wastewater recycling for industry. So I will just come to the next slide. Here, just a small resume from the company. It was founded in 1994, almost 30 years. So next year it will be 30 years. And nowadays we have around 6,500 plants worldwide installed that are mainly, I would say, 95% wastewater recycling systems, and 5% of them are just wastewater treatment systems. We do from the research and development, we have patents on our systems. Like I already said, biological wastewater treatment and recycling with combination process, also with ultrafiltration or when needed, UV sterilization when the water quality of the recycled wastewater has to have a kind of sterilization optimization. We consult from the beginning when some client has a need to recycle his wastewater, what he can do with his wastewater. We assume all the planning, engineering of the development of his own system by normally installing pilot systems to see if what we have developed in the company in our, let's say, little laboratories works as we have developed. So we install normally the pilot systems between 2 to 6 months to see if the results are the ones that we expect and the client expects. So after that, if it works, we go to the manufacturing of the plants, installation, and then afterwards, if there is a need of service, we come for technical service.
Demian, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Your voice is lowering and up.
Yes.
I don't know if isn't you there is always talking in front from your computer or
Yeah. Maybe I will change here something on my microphone setting. Wait. Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry for the interrupt. Sorry.
No worries. I changed it because there were some noises behind around the place where I'm doing the presentation. So maybe this way it goes better. Maybe you will now listen to the sounds that are around. But you can hear me well, no?
Yes, better. Thank you.
Okay. So here is a resume of our focus, in which kind of industries Aqua Detox is present. Mainly we are in car wash sector or vehicle sector. It doesn't have to be cars. It can be trains, planes, all kind of vehicles. Also, you see on this picture here on the left side, this is, I think in English, also tractors. I'm not sure if that's the right name, but it's also the washing of this vehicle. In this case, it's a project I've been involved. These tractors, they put the fungicides and herbicides on the field. So what we do is after the washing from the tractors in their tank, where the herbicides and fungicides are inside, we collect this wastewater and we treat it, and so that they can use it as recycling water. In the middle picture, you see a big truck. So this is also a field where Aqua Detox has many projects. So the water that is produced during the washing from the trucks, it generates the wastewater, and this wastewater go inside our system. And after the treatment, it's ready to be reused in the same process. So that's always the point of our systems, that you can use the recycled wastewater in the same process that it was used before. So we don't want to produce potable water, even if the quality is quite near to potable water. But we think just by reusing the wastewater in the same process, you are already doing something very good to the planet, because you stop using potable water in processes that you don't need potable water for that. So our philosophy is that potable water should be there for the hygienic process of, not process like to take a shower, to use it at home, to use it as cooking water, to use it as drinking water, but in processes where there's no need of that high quality of water, that you could recycle the wastewater, then you should recycle the wastewater. I will explain also the third image on the right side from the three pictures. It's also a project where I was involved. This is a big logistics company that have these machines that you see here, and they do cleanage of transport boxes. So they have boxes that transport, in this case, automobilistic pieces, spare parts that you need in the cars when something is broken. And these transport boxes, they are recycled by being washed through this machine, and they come out here, and then they are ready to be reused. So what we do is the water that is used during the washing, we pump it to our system, and there we do the treatment of the wastewater so that they can use the water again in the same process. These are just some examples. As you can see in this slide, we are in the mobility. As I explained you already, this is around 80% of our projects, but then we are also in other industries, in the agricultural washing systems, as this project on the left side, wastewater recycling in the industrial textile washing machines, also that you can use the, for example, big washing industry of hotel and fabric textiles, that they do the collection of these textiles, and then they are washed all in the same place. So there is a high production of wastewater during the textile washing, and that wastewater you can also treat it so that it's able to be reused in the same process. I'll come to the next slide. Okay, okay, now it worked. Here it's just a small resume of our three main products. Our BioSaver system, you can see it on the left side, is this one. It's able to treat and recycle until 4 cubic meters per hour, so 4,000 liters per hour. And then if you need a bigger system, if the client wants to recycle more than 4 cubic meters per hour, then we have our BioSiren system that is a little bit bigger, and it can recycle from 4,000 liters until 10,000, 15,000, depending on the needs of the project or of the client. Now I will just do a little presentation on how we concept our systems. So we have the wastewater, like the first two pictures, like you see here. This is like wastewater from the industry. And then on the right side, you see a little pilot system where we do our tests if the biological treatment that we expect should work for these clients, as I explained already before in the first slide. Here a little system description. So our systems have always 4 steps. Here are the first 2 steps. So the first step is the sludge pit pre-treatment, and that's the first 2 pictures. In this treatment stage, we settle all solids. So I mix of substances that are able to precipitate and stay in this tank, so in the sludge pit. There, it's like a trap for the sludge, and all what goes from there, like the water that flows to the next step, goes to the biological treatment. In this biological treatment, we have our bacteria that do the biological treatment from the wastewater, and they grow on this kind of, we call it biocubes, the small cubes you see here inside the water. Why we do it with these biocubes? Because this way we can increase the quantity of bacterial or biofilms that are inside the media or inside the water. So we give the biocubes is kind of the house of the bacteria, so they live on the biocubes, and then we give them food. The food is all the oil you see on this stage, for example, is the food for them, or also the detergents. I mean, like chemical agents, like that are used during the process of some cleanage of some product, and then we give them also air because they are aerobic bacterial, so they need air to breathe. And that you see on the third picture, from time to time on the cycle that is programmed from us, they get some oxygen so that they can breathe, or that you have enough oxygen in the water so they can live in the water and do their job. And their job is eating all the oils and detergents and all the dissolved substances that are in the water and needs to be treated. Then after the biological treatment, the water is pumped, like in this first picture you see. So in this case, the biological tank are underground, so it's pumped through this filter. This blue tank is a filter where the bacteria that are dying from time to time are trapped. And after this filter, this little tank you see behind is the tank of recycled water. exactly the same in this picture, but with bigger amount of wastewater that needs to be recycled. And they are trapped in these tanks. So this is again a kind of filter. And after, here behind, you cannot see it, but is this tank with that is the recycled water tank. So you can see my colleague taking a sample of the water, and this is just two examples and optical examples how the water looks after all the treatment. Many questions I get from clients or from people that I explain our system is, but in some moment you have to clean this filter because it will be full. No, the system has its own process, cleanage process twice a day. So it does a backwash, and in this system also has a backwash system, and twice a day it cleans itself. And this backwash goes back to the sludge pit. So dead bacteria are eliminated with the sludge. Here, just the few examples in how we implement our project. So there's underground solution that is with cement tanks, so underground. And then we have overground solutions as PP or PE tanks, or in maritime container tanks. And then there's also the combined solution. So depending on the needs or the possibilities of the client, we adapt the solution that he can use. I will just show some pictures that you can understand better. So this is the underground solutions. As you can see, the tanks are installed above the ground, so in the underground part. These are the examples of the tanks if we do it overground, if the client doesn't have the possibility to put the tanks underground. So if he has space overground, we can install it. Also, the different treatment stages overground. You see here an example of a sludge pit. This is also sludge pit, and here are the biological treatments. In this case, on the left side, these are two biological treatments. You can see it by the little sponges, the biocubes that were not in that moment full of bacteria. So in the moment they are growing bacteria, they go down and go into the medium, into the wastewater. And here also you see behind it's a sludge pit, and these are two biological treatments. You see it again by the cubes, by the sponges that are on the upper part. And these are just some examples of plastic tanks. And we also, when there's the needs or the client prefers, can do it in stainless steel tanks. But this option is, we have fewer clients with that option, because in the end the tanks are more expensive and less interesting for most of the clients. It's very specific solution. And this is the other overground solution. It's a container, in this case 40 feet container, where the different stages of treatment are inside the container. There are just some walls inside the container where the different processes are done. And then here on the last part of the container, you see the technical room, where, as I explained already before, the filtration is done, and then the recycled water is ready to be reused. These are two pictures of two projects of the technical room. Just for optical comparison, this is the small system. Just this is the technical room, and this is a biological tank, so it is not part of the technical room. And this is a bigger system, like this one was the option until 4 cubic meters per hour. And the right side, the bioserum system, is from 4 cubic meters per hour or more. In this case, this client recycles around 18, I think it was 18 cubic meters per hour, 18,000 liters per hour. This is a diagram in how it can be built. So this is a combination of underground and overground. In this case, these clients wanted the sludge pits underground. Then it has a lifting system, a pump that pumps the pre-treated wastewater into the biological treatments, and then from the biological treatments it goes to the filtration system to be, and in the end to the recycled water tank. What are the benefits of this kind of system? Well, as it's mainly biological, this makes it possible not to add any chemicals, or no need to add any chemicals. You in the vehicle or in the car wash sector, the clients don't need any collagens or oil separator, because the oil, as I told you before, is the food of the bacterial. And the biological treatment has a high stability towards variation. So if there's a moment that there's coming much more oil or some other contamination, the system just adapts to it, because the bacteria, they reproduce faster or slower depending on how much food enters the system. In the process of the washing process, there's no need to use so much cleaning agents or chemical detergents, because there will be always a little bit of it in the recycled water. This way we protect the natural resource water by recycling it. 100% of the wastewater is treated, and we have a quote of 98% recycling rate, depending on the system, because in some systems we have more evaporation, and in other systems there's less evaporation. This always depends on the process, but all water that enters the system is recycled. In the end, the client or the client has good processed water that can be used during for his process. He doesn't have to use potable water anymore for his process, and recycled water has no smells and has no color. So that's a very important point always for the client. One point that is not here on this slide, it's also the payback of the system. So as in this project, the company or the client stops using potable water, and if he used to pay prices for the potable water, as higher the price, as faster, of course, is the payback. And in the moment the payback is done from the project, you can say that you are making money by not using potable water, because potable water has its price also, and in that moment you stop using potable water and can use the recycled wastewater. Now I will just present you two projects in those that I was involved, as example for what Aqua Detox has done. In this case, this was installed in Germany in July 2020, and it's a client that cleans around 50 trucks or buses per day, with a total amount of wastewater of 9,000 liters an hour and 100,000 liters per day. This client decided for underground tank solution, and I will just show you some pictures. These are the same pictures you saw already before. This one, it's the technical room of this project. Here you see the picture of the washing machine from the trucks. This also is the washing machine of the trucks and buses, and here it's a high pressure system of cleaning for also trucks or machinery like vehicles that are used on the road to build something, and they are washed here. So all this wastewater goes into our system, and then it's ready to be recycled. What is very interesting about this project, and the next I will present also, is that this client, he worked during 2.5 years without using any potable water, because he also installed a rainwater harvesting system, because he has enough surface to collect the rainwater. So all the water that is lost during the process of the washing of the vehicles, it's recharged with rainwater. So this client, during 2.5 years, he was mainly recycling his wastewater. And when there was the need of water, because the vehicles, they also take some water out of the system, or because of evaporation of the water, he was re-putting the needed water that was going to be that was lost during the process. He was re-putting it with rainwater. So this is the diagram from that project. It's a resume of how it was installed. Here you see again the sludge pits, the biological treatment, all underground, then the filters. This is the processed water tank, so recycled water tank. And then this client, in this case, also wanted ultra UV sterilization, because he wanted to be sure that his employees will not get any health problems with the recycled wastewater. And then here you see the rainwater harvesting process. This is the rainwater tank. So from this tank, it goes to the processed water tank when it's needed, and this way the system fills it up when there's water needed in the process. This project was a project done here in Portugal, and it's also very interesting because it's a client that does mainly construction machine washing. He uses around 1,500 liters an hour to wash this machinery, and 10,000 liters per day. In this case, also, this client has rainwater harvesting, and I was just yesterday visiting this system, and he told me that for now he didn't have to use any potable water. Here's some pictures of the washing bay from this client. It's this kind of machinery that is cleaned during the cleaning process. Here you see the wastewater and the sludge pits. And in this case, the biological tanks are overground. And here you see again the technical room where the wastewater is recycled and ready again to be used for the process of the washing of this machinery. In this case, it's a little bit more simple, this diagram of this project. So here is the washing bay of the machinery. We have again sludge pit underground, and we have a pumping station to the overground technical room where the biological treatment is done. And after, we have here the filtration system and again the recycled wastewater tank. And he has a little rainwater tank also. And here exactly the same situation as the previous project. He uses this water to re-put water in the system when there's water needed that was lost during the washing process. So this is my last slide. This is a logo from Aqua Detox. We have developed the last years, and it's a way that we want to transmit the philosophy of Aqua Detox. So what we want to say with that is that by saving water, we save lives. Of course, every life is important. If it's the let's let's say, animal and vegetable life, or our own life as humans. And by installing these kind of systems, we are protecting one of the most important resource we have on our planet. Without it, we cannot live. And we think it's very important to transmit this philosophy that where there's no need to use potable water, there should be systems that recycle the wastewater so it can be reused in the same process. So thank you very much, and I'm here for any questions you may have.
Well, thank you, Demian, for this presentation. It was more technical, I guess, with your solutions, but it was very enriching. Now it's time for question and answers. I have
Guilherme,
yes.
I don't
Yes.
know if you're stepping in because I had a problem with my microphone.
Okay, but we are hearing you very clear.
I'm sorry? Oh, okay. Okay. No problem. Do you want me to take up
Yes,
from
yes,
now?
please.
Yes?
Please,
Okay.
please, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Demian, for this very interesting presentation. I had already seen the slides you sent me yesterday. I have some questions. I see that most, if not all of your projects concern water recycling for washing applications. Am I right?
That's correct. That's correct.
So do you foresee any other type of reuse, or do you already have these applications, or you work in these applications?
If I understood right the question, like yes, like the systems that are working from Aquadetox, they are mainly on that system, like for washing usage. So if some products or some process needs water to wash something, then that wastewater we try to get it and recycle it before it goes out of the company or out of the system where it's used, because normally this water or has a pre-treatment or goes directly to the big wastewater treatment systems.
Okay. A more technical question regards your claims of 100% water cleaning and no need for coalescence or oil separation. I think that the goal of 100% in engineering is never reached. So I was surprised by your claim in your slide. And another question I have, this I'm really curious about this, really interested in your answer. From my experience, the oils and greases are the most difficult substrate to degrade in biological systems. Yet you say you handle it very easily. I'm surprised by that. And you handle it with the biocubes. I imagine that you have some kind of super bacteria to do this work because I think that really the oils and greases are difficult to degrade. And what kind of oils and greases are these? I don't know if I missed it. What type of oils and greases are them? Are these? Are they from food sector, from automobile sector? What kind of oils? These are they can be very different. My final question for the moment relates to a mass balance. Because if you produce no excess sludge, as you also say in your slides, everything that comes in has to come out. So you produce carbon dioxide, I guess, from the degradation of biological degradation of the organic matter, but you also produce sludge. What do you do with the excess sludge?
Okay, yeah, I was just writing down the question.
Yes, it's okay.
Regarding the 100%, when we speak about 100%, that we treat 100% of the wastewater, we speak about all the wastewater that enters our system is treated. So what enters...
Okay. It's not an efficiency. It's not a treatment
Exactly.
efficiency. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I see.
We didn't consider the loss what we have during the process, but because of course you are right, during the biological treatment you have chemical reactions, and you have there also some loss of this during this process. Okay. Regarding the coalescents and oil separators, or the next question is also related to that, how we degrade the oils. We do it this way, as the biocubes have a very, very high surface of bacterial growing. So it's the sponge is like 2 to 3 centimeters big, okay, but it has a lot of holes inside. This makes it possible for much more bacteria to grow on just a little biocube. And then, of course, there are thousands of biocubes inside one biological tank. And I agree with you, the oils and fats are very difficult to degrade, but we have developed, Aquadetox has, I didn't do it, but they have right percentage of oxygen, how you say, introduction, or how you say in English, putting inside the biological treatment.
Injection.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the right word. Injection of the right quantity of oxygen. So there is enough bacteria that degrades these oils and fats that enter the biological treatment. And for now, it has been a success because it works good. We have 6,500 plants working this way, and mainly we don't have any problems. The wastewater, recycled wastewater, has high quality, and you saw the pictures. It's black, full of oils, and gets out with purity, and almost it looks like potable water. Even analytically, mainly our system, it's potable water, but it's not that what we want. We don't want to sell water like in bottles. We just want that the client can reuse the wastewater in the process, and that he's satisfied with the quality of that water. And where these oils come from, like as I told in my presentation, our main projects are in the vehicle washing systems. So during the car washing, there are oils and fats on the car, because the car without oil cannot work. And for example, we have also systems working in hotels or restaurants, big restaurants. This oil comes from the frying process, or this kind of vegetable oils. Okay. Also, we have systems working for how you say that, repairing car repairing shops. So where cars are repaired, and they do washing of the motors. When the motors are being repaired, they clean them, and also this wastewater goes inside systems of us. So these are some few examples. In one of the pictures I showed you, the logistic branch, where the transport boxes are cleaned. These are oils and fats that are used, that the spare parts don't break and don't get the friction, too strong friction to each other. And then this oil stays in the transport boxes. So during the cleanage of the boxes, this big tunnel you saw in the picture cleans the oil that is inside these transport boxes, and this oil comes to our system also. So these are some examples of where the oil comes from. What was the last question?
It was about the sludge, because everything that comes in must come out according to a mass balance. So don't you have excess sludge?
This excess sludge is filtered in the last treatment stage. This blue tank or the other tank are filter systems, and the excess sludge stays there trapped during the day or during the time that the client is washing, and during night or some periods where the washing process is not active, the system does a backwash and cleans this excess sludge. And this cleanage, this dirty sludge, goes to the sludge pit. Okay, and then in the sludge pit, it has time to precipitate again down and stays in this place. And this sludge pit has to be cleaned from time to time. Normally, it's once a year. The sludge pit has to be cleaned from a company that does this kind of like cleanage of sludge pits.
Okay.
Professor,
thank you.
We have a question from the audience. Rui, I will allow you to speak. So please just turn your mic on, and you can talk to us.
Thank you, Guillermo. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Hi, Demian. Thank you very much for this presentation. And I'm very, very, very satisfied and happy to see this technology working, as for the last 18 or 19 years, I've been selling and installing oil separators, coalescent, so I think I'm out of business regarding that. But I have some questions, Demian. One is, do these bacteria develop themselves in this biological reactor, or do you have to add them in at the start? That's the first question.
Okay.
The second question is following on to that, and that is, if these are bacteria that grow in a certain habitat, are they season affected? Which means that, imagine that a car shop or a car wash or a restaurant is occupied intensively during 3 months, and then almost stopped for 4 or 5 months in a row, if that is going to affect the colonies of bacteria. And the other question also regarding the bacteria is this system the same adequate both for the oils and both for the phytopharmaceuticals, the farm chemicals, as you've shown, if this is the same type of bacteria? So those are my my questions. And the other one, or the last one, is not related to that, but is, can this system be used when there is an oil emergency in a river or in a beach, so that you have all these oil on the surface of the water? Can a system like this, a plot like this, be temporarily put in work to digest the oils that are on the surface, or your company has never thought about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Rui, for the questions. Very interesting questions, and I see you have worked in this field. First question, if we have to add bacteria. No, this question comes many times also from clients, or when we start a project with some company. We explain it always this way. The bacteria, they exist always in the water, but bacteria are everywhere. So we just give them the best way to live. So we give, as I told in my presentation, a house where they can stay. That's important because if you don't give them a house, they will flush out of the system. You need a place where they can stick there together. We give them oxygen so they can breathe because, as I told already, it's aerobic bacteria and not anaerobic bacteria that do our process of treatment. And we give them food, or mainly the process gives them food, and that's what they need to live. So they are more or less depending on how much food it enters, and they are this kind of bacteria or that kind of bacteria depending on the food that enters. When I say food, is also of course the contamination of the wastewater in the process. So if I give an example, there's a process that always washes fish boxes. So the bacteria that will reproduce are the ones that really like to eat fish, okay? And if it's a box that is always with meat and blood of meat, the bacteria that will grow more are the ones that prefer to eat meat, okay? It's a principle of life balance. So I give you example, if a restaurant just serves vegan things, no person that likes meat will go there, or a person that really wants to eat meat will go there. So it happens also with the bacteria. They adapt to what contamination or what kind of food enters, and that happens in the nature automatically. Okay. Are they season? Also, I mean, the second question was if they adapt to different seasons or different situations. Of course, there's a limit. Our limit is always what we get from the client as information, or as good the information or the analytics are done in the beginning, as better we know what kind of seasons can happen. So we always calculate the biological tanks depending on the maximum that can happen in that place. And normally, as we have experience in the fields where we are installing these kind of systems, we know the maximums that should be normal for this kind of project or client. But we speak about that in the beginning of the project and explain that for us it's important to know what is the worst, what can happen, what can enter as contamination. We don't, when they give us just information, what is the normal average of day, that doesn't give us enough information. We need to know what is the worst case. Yes.
Sorry, we have lost you for I don't know, 5 seconds maybe.
Okay.
The last thing I heard clearly was the worst thing that enters and contaminates system.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So that's always important. We need to know the worst case, and then the biological tanks are something on that basis, on the worst case. If there's a time that even the worst case was not considered, the worst what can happen is that for one day the recycled water is not that quality that we normally want to give the client, that is potable water. Okay, it's one day, but the client will be able to live with it because he knew that that situation in theory should not have happened ever. That is a situation that can happen. Regarding the bacterial difference between those that prefer to eat oils or detergents from chemical industry, it's like that. The bacteria, the biofilm on the biocubes adapts to what enters. Okay, if there's a change in the, for example, chemical product, the biological system will take some time in adapting. Will in the beginning maybe takes 1 or 2 weeks, the recycled water is not the quality it should be. But after a while, sometimes one day, sometimes 1 week, depends from process to process or from system to system, the bacteria adapt themselves again to the new situation. Important for this always, of course, is that everything that enters is biological treatment. That there is a possibility to treat it biologically. Okay, because if there are products or contaminations that there's no possibility to treat it biologically, the biology cannot adapt. It will not biodegrade this contamination, and then it doesn't work. It has always to be wastewater where everything is biological treatable. Okay. Can it be used for these situations when we have a boat that breaks on the sea or on the river to clean this oil? Yes, we had already situations like this, projects like this in Switzerland. There was a bad situation like this, and we entered with our technology and treated this water that was the river water that was contaminated by this kind of oil rupture of a boat. So for that is good to have a mobile system, and these mobile systems are these container projects, as I presented during my presentation. Inside this container, there is the treatment, all treatments stages of our system, and with that you can treat also when you have oils in seawater or river.
Okay, Rui, I don't know if you still want to put another question. If you please be brief, because we are more or less 10 minutes away, and I would also like to put one question. Rui?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you. I'm very, very glad on all of the answers. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rui. Demian, just one or two things that I didn't understand quite well. You talked that the biosaver and the biosiren. You talked about the capacities of each one of them. So if it's inferior to 4 cubic meters per hour, you choose the biosaver, and if it's more, you choose the biosiren. I have two questions. The first is both available for the same wastewater quality. It only varies on the system volume. And second, this is more curiosity on the Kirchberg project. You combined the biosiren with the biosaver, at least on your slide. Why did you do that?
You were looking very well at the presentation. Regarding the first question, yes, the biosaver and biosiren systems are used for the same wastewater. We have some other products, other solutions, but are very specific. Like it's for very specific wastewater that have contaminations that are not inside, let's say, the normal range what we treat normally. But yes, biosaver and biosiren are applied for exactly the same wastewater, and the only difference is the hydraulic that the biosaver can treat maximum 4,000 cubic meters, because it's the capacity of this tank. More cannot pass through this tank. It's like around 60 liters per minute, and the biosiren can treat more than that. Why did we do separation between biosiren and biosaver, or we inserted both in this project? It's as in Kirchberg in Germany. We did this because the bioserum filtration system has a little bit lower capacity of filtration. What does this mean? It lets pass a little bit more particles, a little bit more bacteria, and the recycled water of the bioserum is more than enough for the normal washing process. But when it's for systems like high pressure washing, the high pressure goes through very little tubes, okay? And there it's very important that there are no particles in the water. So we do a post-treatment of the already treated wastewater from the bioserum. We just inject it through the biosaver. There we do a second filtration. And this way we guarantee the client that there will be no particles in the recycled water. And this way we protect the washing system with high pressure, because high pressure, it goes through very, very small tubes, and it's very important that there are no particles inside the recycled wastewater.
Okay, so one last question from me, due to their time, and I also advise if anyone in the audience want to put their questions, their time is now, and after this question, I will pass the word to Professora Helena. You talked about the payback and the more economics talk of your products. My question is, what is your usually payback that a client can expect? And since your systems requires almost no maintenance, what is the lifetime of your products as well?
The payback depends mainly on one thing: water price. If the water price is high, and the payback will be fast. If the water price is low, the payback will take a lot of time. I take example average price, like say Germany of water is 350 or 4 euros, around that, 350, 4 euros. There the payback is around 2 to 3 years, okay? If it's lower than that, you can calculate it. It will be, if the price of potable water and taxes of wastewater treatment, because always you have to count both of them, like you don't pay not just the potable water, but also the wastewater treatment. It's around €1.50, then the payback will increase to 5, 6, 8 years, okay? And if it goes in the other direction, for example, now in Algarve, I know because we have projects there, there are places where you pay already between 6 to 9 euros per cubic meter of potable water, then the payback is quite fast. It's always a question of how high the price of the potable water is, okay? And lifetime of the systems, the company exists since 29 years. The systems that were installed 29 years ago still run. Of course, you have to change in some moment the pump, you have to change here something, there something, but are normal changes. And like the biological tank, you don't have to change it. The biocubes stay there, the bacteria stay there. You don't have to insert new biocubes. You don't have to put bacteria, because the bacteria grow on themselves in the wastewater. So in the moment the system is running, it runs for now the time you need it, and you do the investment of reparation of some pump or something that breaks.
Okay, thank you. Professor, if you please.
Yes, well, I have no further questions. I find this exchange of ideas very interesting, but I have no further questions. I thank you once again for the invitation, and I thank our speakers and our audience for their presence and for their questions. And I hope that we can meet again sometime. I hope that Demian can also come to the University of Aveiro and give a talk about these interesting subjects. He will be very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Demian, final words before I wrap this session up?
Yeah, I also want to thank you again, Guilherme, and your team and everybody that participated in this event. I think it's very important to speak about this. I think the next big topic will be this, the footprint of water, because we speak about footprint of carbon, but in some years I think we will speak not that much about footprint of carbon, because then we have spoken all what we had to speak about that, and I think in 3 to 5 years we will be speaking about the footprint of water that we let on this planet and the companies let on this planet. So thank you for this very, very amazing event.
Well, it was our pleasure, and actually the water footprint, not only our individual, but as a company, as a region, or as a society, is a very interesting theme. As it was this, we could still keep going, because, for example, I have still 5 questions for you and 2 for Ricardo, but we will respect our times. So let me say thank you to Professor Maria for being here with me. It was always a pleasure to have you. To the speakers, Ricardo and Demian, I would like to express my gratitude for your willingness to participate in our event and for bringing these different valid solutions for the industrial uses. One more macro and the other more specific, but overall it was a really great session and the proof of complementing solutions that exist for covering different industrial areas. I would also like to take this last opportunity to generally thank all the people involved in making this event happening, from my colleagues from the organization to our trusted partners, to our participants. I hope you enjoyed our event and we didn't defraud your expectations on the discussed content. Some of you attended all the sessions, and without saying numbers, it's gratifying to overtake our own expectations of attendance to our first ever event. Just a small reminder for all the live attendants to please answer our quick survey. It should pop up as we speak. Right now, it only takes 5 to 10 seconds, and it's important for us to know who as we reach as an event. Other useful information, if you are seeing us from YouTube and want to watch the other sessions and panels, you will find useful links for that in the description of this video. And we are just in the beginning, but we are certain that we are building something greater than all of us involved, and within our possibilities and time management, many things are being prepared to come and to be realized these during years. So please connect with us on LinkedIn to stay informed of our activities. I think it will be worth of it if you like and have interest in this area of wastewater use. Everybody is welcome, and everybody is important in the fight for a more sustainable world tomorrow, livable for us and all species. And about water, it always resonates to this. The water flows begin but never ends. Water matters, it's how we do it. I wish you all have a nice day, and I see you in the next occasion. Thank you very much to all.